Hey family, it's Raymond here from Family Meeple and welcome to another session playing through our Ultimate Season 1 Marvel United campaign, and today we are up against the Black Dwarf. So this is the first time we come across one of the children of Thanos in this campaign, giving us a good indicator as to where this campaign is ultimately ending. So we are heading towards, of course, the Infinity Gauntlet. This is what it is all about, family. So it's what we're heading towards. So we have the first of the children of Thanos, being the Black Dwarf. And if you're a fan of the MCU, the cinematic universe, certainly he does put in a good amount of show, as do the other children of Thanos as well, actually. So yeah, very good. So you see there's no special rules for setup for the Black Dwarf, so we'll flip this over and find out what he is all about. So we have his special rules. So when a hero is KO'd, Black Dwarf doesn't activate his ban. Instead, he plays another Master Plan card, so he will continue to hammer us hard. When he does do his ban, then deal 1 damage to each hero in Black Dwarf's location, so very similar to what we see with the majority of the villains. And then finally, in regards to overflow, 1 or more civilian or thug tokens can't be added to the location. Deal 1 damage to each hero in that location. So if we're at a point of not being able to overflow and we're in that location, then we will take a point of damage. That's how that works. Now for heroes, we are using Valkyrie and Thor, so they will be facing off against the Black Dwarf. Therefore, let us break out the Asgard, the Tales of Asgard locations. So we've got to just go ahead and shuffle these up and see what we have. So we have the Asgardian Palace. So at the end of our turn, if that's clear, we may add up to 2 civilians or thugs to any location. So that's particularly good if you're struggling to get the tokens on the board due to whatever villain you may be facing, and obviously need to clear your missions. We have Odin's Vault. So at the end of your turn, if you have 1 or 2 cards in your hand, you may draw an extra card. So that's our place of healing. We have the Throne Room. So at the end of your turn, you may move another hero to a location adjacent to them. We have the Bifrost Bridge. So that has, you may move all heroes from this location to another location. So as you would expect of the Bifrost. We have Valhalla. So at the end of turn, you may discard any number of cards from your hand to the bottom of your deck and draw back that many, discarding all hand does not KO a hero. And then finally, Heimdall's Observatory. At the end of turn, we move any number of heroes to any locations from. You may move any number of heroes from any locations to this location, so it brings everyone to the observatory. So as you'd expect for those locations. And then we are facing down the threats of the Black Dwarf. So let's have a look at his threats. We have a charge. So with the charge, he does, when he lands there, deal 1 damage to each hero in this location. So that's how the charge works. That's go out on location number 1. We have Super Tough. So as long as at least 1 Super Tough is in play, so one of these, Black Dwarf ignores 1 damage for each turn. Wow, okay. So from a clearing of threats, that's definitely something we'll be taking care of. We've seen charge, so that will go over in Odin's Vault. We have finally then the Chain Hammer. So as long as at least 1 chain hammer is in play, Black Dwarf's BAM also deals 1 damage to each hero in adjacent locations, because of course he's got that whopping great hammer that he is swinging around, so it gives him that extra reach in his attack. So we've got another chain hammer over at the Bifrost, and then the final super tough over at Valhalla. So the super tough, ignoring damage each turn when we're coming to defeat the Black Dwarf at the end. Definitely something we want to be taking care of. As always, we will now randomise where Black Dwarf will begin. So he will begin over in the Asgardian Palace, meaning that Thor and Valkyrie will begin over at the Bifrost. So we have randomly determined that. We have set out our crisis tokens. We will now need to attend to and locations. We're now need to attending to populating the board regards to our civvies and thugs. We'll just get those set up. Here we go. So we've got quite a good amount of space, certainly over that half of the board, and not too bad on this half either. So civilian, a thug, and then we've got a single thug over at the Bifrost Bridge. Fantastic. Okay, so we are set up and we are ready to go. Let's have a look. Always starting left to right, we will begin with Valkyrie. So let's have a look. In fact, before I do anything, let's just give them a shuffle. I have done this before going on screen, but we will do it on screen, and there's no jiggery pokery going on here. Thank you very much. So we'll get those shuffled up, and of course, as always, the villain begins. So let's shuffle up for Black Dwarf and get his first card into flow. And before I do that, we have six life to take out the Black Goat. Wow, that's quite a chunky enemy, folks. 6 life. There we go. 3, 4, 5 and 6. So yet again we have another villain that does not have henchmen out on the board. So it is all about bringing to bear those heroic feats in order to clear these threats, rescue civilians, defeat thugs, in order to make Black Dwarf vulnerable so we can take him on. Okay, so we will begin with the first card then for Black Dwarf. So he will be doing a move 3 and a healing factor. So let's see if that still comes into play at this juncture. So Black Dwarf heals up to 3 health up to his starting value. If he is at full health, deal 1 damage to each hero in his location instead. So thankfully we got a breather. No, we didn't, because he's going to move 3 first of all. So we are both there. Okay, so we will commence by drawing up. Let's just move that out. We'll put that in the timeline so we're ready to go. Okay, so 3 cards for Valkyrie and 3 cards for Thor. So right off the bat, he is going to deal 1 point of damage to each of our heroes. So hopefully you're seeing there what we've got on display. So we've got Valkyrie with her war song. You may move to any location and attack. We've got a move and attack, a move and attack, and then Thor, we've got an attack, move and attack, and then double wild. We are absolutely definitely keeping that double wild. Let's move the single attack to the bottom of the deck, and we're going to move the single attack for Valkyrie as well. So we both suffered 1 damage. Okay, so that is resolved. We are now on to Valkyrie's turn. So we've got an attack and a heroic feat. So here we have the chain hammer, so that enables him to do damage to both of us when he bams. I mean, chain hammers certainly worth taking care of, but greater than that is this super tough, which we have 2 of on the board. So I think I'm going to look at moving in order to start taking care of that. So Valkyrie will move down to Valhalla, will defeat a thug and place a heroic feat out onto the super tough threat. So then over to Thor, so he will draw a card and he has a double punch. He's double wild. I think that at this stage is a no-brainer. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so Thor then can he can move to the throne room. He can do an attack on the thug. So that's his pick up from Valkyrie's card, and then with the double wild, he'll put down 2 heroic feats towards clearing this one here. So this one in particular is the chain hammer, as we work our way around to the super tough. That's what we're aiming for ultimately. So we are back to Valkyrie. So Valkyrie will draw, and again it's the war song, to move to any location and do an attack. Is that useful? I mean, she can stay where she is. In fact, I'll tell you what, folks, she can, let's do the double wild. Sorry, so the double wild given from Thor, Valkyrie will use to clear this super threat. So that's one, or super tough, sorry, so that's one threat cleared. And then she will utilise then her war song. She may move to any location and attack, and that will get her straight over to the Asgardian Palace, where she'll take out another thug, and she's there now ready to start taking out that super tough. Excellent. So that's 3 hero actions. We are back to the villain. So Black Dwarf will be doing a move 2, then he'll be bamming. So do 1 damage to each hero in this location. And now, if you remember, the chain is, as long as there's one in play, whenever he bams, he deals an additional damage adjacent. So he will cause a point of damage in Valhalla, but also, more importantly, he will cause a point of damage to the Asgardian Palace. So Valkyrie, unfortunately, will lose yet another of her cards. Now, because it's a choice between a move and an attack versus a heroic feat and attack, we're particularly wanting to get those heroic feats out. So that will be our choice. So he's down to 1 health now. I'm trying to think where the healing place was. I think it was Odin was the actual healing location. And we're going to be putting out 2 thugs to Heimdall's observatory, and then an additional thug on each side of Black Dwarf. So thankfully we've not triggered overflow. We've got plenty of room capacity, so we are all good. Okay, so that is it for the Black Dwarf's attack. Valkyrie went last. We are back over to Thor. So Thor will draw a card. He has his Mjolnir, so he can do 3 attack against a single enemy in your location. Again, fantastic if we happen to have henchmen available to be defeated. We do not have henchmen available to be defeated, so we are instead, again, that's a great one, potentially at the end of the game when we're taking down the Black Dwarf. But right now, where we are, little less useful. We have got in the timeline a single punch, not very useful either. Okay, so we're going to do a move and a punch, because that's as good as I can get of value. And we'll come back over to the Bifrost and attack this thug. So we're nearly halfway now in terms of clearing those thug missions. And that's it. Okay. Yeah, but there's nothing more I can do to clear that chain hammer. So that is just the way it is. Deal 1 damage to each here in this location. Apologies, I didn't capture that charge, but that didn't have an effect because there is no hero in that location. Although potentially may have taken out... no, because it's not the BAM effect, so that's fine. Okay, that's fine. So that didn't have any impact on the game. So we've had Black Dwarf act, we've had Thor act, we are back over to Valkyrie. So she will draw, and thankfully she gets another of her heroic feats. So we'll do... Do I want to do an attack and a heroic feat? We've already got an attack there anyway. Okay, let's go with... we'll put out the standard heroic feat. So she will begin to clear this super tough and deal 1 point of damage to this thug here, which clears that. Now she can move. Does she want to move? I think she's going to stay where she is. So we're done. She's going to stay where she is. And it's back over to Thor. So he'll draw a card. Yes! No! Okay. So it would have been great to get rid of that chain hammer. Do you know what we're going to do, folks? We're going to do it. Okay. So we've got 3. So we've currently got 3 heroic feats that we can use. So straight where Thor is now at the Bifrost Bridge, he can clear that straight off the bat. That's one of the chain hammers. So I think the chain hammer and the super tough are definitely the focus for this game in terms of getting rid of those. So we have now cleared 1 super tough and 1 chain hammer. We are nearly clearing the second chain hammer. So we're making good progress. Okay, end of turn, you may move all heroes from the location, from this location to another location. So I can come from here to somewhere else, should I choose to do so. And I will, I'll go back to the throne room, and it saves me having to worry about getting a movement out. So that is 3 hero actions. We are back to the villain. So Black Dwarf draws a move 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. He's over at the Bifrost Bridge, and he will BAM. So he'll do 1 point of damage there, but he'll also do 1 point of damage adjacent as well. So the Mjolnir will take a hit and disappear. So that is gone from Thor's hand. Okay, so Thor has taken a point of damage. It's very unlikely at this stage we're going to clear Odin's Vault and get some healing out, but it is what it is, folks. So he's taken a point of damage. That was the BAM, and he will then put out 2 thugs in that location, which is fine. We're managing the token situation in terms of thugs and civvies. So we're doing okay at the moment, and then we have an additional thug over at Valhalla and an additional thug over at the throne room. So still no risk of overflow presently. So we got away with that. Okay, so now we are back to Valkyrie. So she will draw. Oh, fantastic! So she gets the double heroic. And yeah, I mean that's as good as it gets, I reckon, folks. So she can clear this super tough, so we are well on the way now to having all those threats cleared. Now she can use the end of turn as Guardian Palace. She'll also rescue the civilian. She can use the end of turn as Guardian Palace to you may add up to 2 civilians and or thugs to any location. We don't need to worry about that. We have plenty of thugs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we need 4, so we've got plenty of thugs out on the table. That is not something we need to worry about at the moment. So she has cleared this, so that is now gone. That is resolved, and we've got our 3rd threat cleared. Okay, so that was Valkyrie. So we're back over to Thor. Thor will draw a card. Oh, he's got his Mjolnir again. I mean, Mon is good, but like I say, it's a single enemy in your location, so not great for sort of taking out multiple thugs. Great when you've got henchmen. So we've got in the timeline the double heroic. So at this stage, I think I'm going to play a double. Flipping heck, folks. Oh. Okay, I'm going to do it. Okay, so we're going to do. We're going to clear this for one. Sorry, that's the final chain hammer. So we've reduced the impact. Now, unfortunately, it does mean that Black Dwarf is now under pressure. And then the attack. One of the attacks we can use to clear this thug, and the extra heroic feat we can clear another rescue another civilian. Okay, now that does mean though 2 heroes have acted. We are back to villain turn. So we have move 3, 1, 2, 3. He's there with Valkyrie, and what does he do? Healing factor. We've seen this before then, folks. Black Dwarf heals up to 3 health. If it's already at full, which it is, deal 1 damage to each hero in his location instead. So Valkyrie takes a fall. She is KO'd. So that is her taken down. I'll put that in the timeline. She is KO'd. Okay. So that was Black Dwarf's action. And when a hero is KO'd, let's go back to his board. When a hero is KO'd, doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, he plays another Master Plan card. Ooh, so now he will move 5, bringing him almost full circle back to Heimdall's Observatory, and he will put out lots of tokens. This will bust us, folks. So we have. Where's it gone? So we have a thug, and there's 2 tokens we can't put out here. So if one or more tokens can't be added to a location, do 1 damage to each hero in that location. So there's none here. Thankfully, the 2 locations that are about to be added to Asgardian Palace, there is space, although it wouldn't have damaged Valkyrie anyway, as she is out cold. And again, we do have another further overflow scenario in Valhalla. But again, there's no further heroes there to take damage. Okay, so, ouch, that escalated very quickly. So we've now got a full house in Valhalla, full house in Heimdall's Observatory. We're doing very well in this top half, and we're half full over at Asgardian Palace. So, that was it for Black Dwarf. We are now back to Valkyrie. So first thing she'll do is draw 3 cards. Let's get those out. Attack, 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 double wild, and then she'll draw her 4th card. Excellent. So double wild is absolutely going to go into play at this stage. Now we need to work out what she's going to do with it. So she is now stood up. Apologies. So we've cleared these, so therefore now we want to focus on clearing out the rest of these thugs, and there are plenty of thugs over here in Heimdall's Observatory, and she has got a double punch. So let's do a move 1 and 1, 2, 3. That clears this, which means Black Dwarf is now vulnerable, and we can proceed with the attacks. Fantastic. So we're over to Thor, who we're now at. He's also got a double punch. He can't get there though, is the problem. Can they move any other hero to a location adjacent to them? You move from there. Didn't need to clear that now. Oh, blinking heck, folks. Oh! No, he can, because Black Dwarf is now vulnerable. So it means he can now play Mjolnir, which means he can use the 1 movement from Mjolnir card, the double wild 1 and 2 to hot tail it over to Heimdall's Observatory, and then he can proceed to do 3 points of damage from Heimdall, so that is half of Black Dwarf's life gone. Wow, that was an incredible feat, well done. Excellent, and we are back to Black Dwarf, so he's going to stay where he is. Oh no! He's going to deal 1 damage to each hero, so he's going to do an axe swing. Deal 1 damage to each hero in Black Dwarf's and adjacent locations. It doesn't matter, we are all in Black Dwarf's location, so he's going to do 1 damage to all of us. Let's get rid of this move, seeing as he decided to stay still. And unfortunately, Thor is also KO. Nasty. Okay, so that was the impact there. And we are back to the hero's turn. So we have, may move to the location of punch. We've got to move up there, not fantastic. Let's draw a card first. Double punch! No, it's a wild though. The wild, we don't really need a wild, but we'll play the wild. Let's get it out there. Okay, so she can move, doesn't need to move. We'll use her wild to do 1 more point of damage to the Black Dwarf. And then we are back to Thor. Thor will draw his next 3 cards. Come on, double punch, double punch, double punch, double punch. No, Moni! Yeah! Excellent. He is back in the fray, standing back up. And he leaps to his feet, swings up Mjolnir, and thwacks the Black Dwarf for a mighty 3 points of damage, taking him out. And there we are, folks. You see a very, very different game to playing that Taskmaster. I mean, the heroes still had cards in their decks, although they did suffer knockouts. Oh, maybe I should have done another because Thor got knocked out. Ah! Oh, no, I should have done another master plan card. Okay, I'm going to have to rewind that. Thankfully, it's not a tremendous rewind. So let's do that. Oh, so close. So close. We may still survive yet. So, that was on top of the deck. That was on top of the deck. She has been suffered a KO. He is suffered a KO. These are both on top of the deck. Okay, this is resetting then, because Black Dwarf, and I keep thinking, I keep going to say Black Goat, and apologies, I may have slipped up already. It's Cthulhu Death May Die, I'm afraid. This wonderful monstrosity of a game. Black Goat is one of the great old ones, and I'm confusing things now. Although, having said that, I thought it was interesting that there did definitely seem to be a Cthulhu thing going on in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If you haven't watched it, folks, go back and watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's interesting, and it kind of blew my mind. And I have read somewhere else as well, and I think in you kind of see again glimpses of it in the Doctor Strange with all the tentacle stuff. Again, that kind of Cthulhu-esque essence coming into the Marvel Universe, and we may well yet see more of that becoming unveiled again. There's spoilers, and I'm not going to say anything more than that on another Marvel TV show that a special. It's a one-off special. If you haven't seen it, I recommend to go and watch it. Can I say more than that? Can I say? I don't want to say what it is. Just go watch everything Marvel. I'll leave it at that. Apologies. Okay, I've distracted myself. So, master plan card. He draws another master plan, and this time he will move the other side of the board. 1, 2, 3. Not what we wanted. You may move any other hero to a location adjacent to them. Okay. This makes things complicated, folks. So he will do that, and he will then trigger 3 civilians coming out. So there's no further impact There's no further sort of BAMs or anything like that, but it does put him away from us, and that means we are absolutely now on the chase. We need to track him down and finish him off. Oh, okay. So, back to the heroes. Valkyrie will draw. You may move to any location and attack. I think that is absolutely what she is going to play at this stage. So that means she can hot side it straight across to the throne room. And she could do 1 point of damage to the black dwarf. Now here's an interesting one, folks. You may move any other hero to an adjacent location to them. The fact that Thor is currently KO'd, can I move him or can I not? Because he is currently laying down. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I'm going to say no, you can't, because he's KO'd, he's lying on the floor. No matter how much you jostle someone from the throne room and try and call them to you or whatever, and command them to move, if they're knocked out, guess what, folks? They ain't going to move. So, okay, that's done. That's my ruling. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Thor will wake up and he will draw his cards. And we've seen these already, but he has got some movement. Is it going to be enough? I don't think it is. Mjolnir gives him a movement as well, but it is not close enough. End of your turn, may discard and draw back up. I think this is probably going to be my best bet. Maybe. Certainly no point putting out additional civilians and thugs. So I think we're going to go over to Valhalla. So we're going to do, so we're going to play, we're going to reserve Mjolnir. We're going to play, oh, in fact, apologies folks, I needed to draw an extra card because I had 4 cards. It's a wild. Do I want to put a wild out? It's better than anything else on the basis that at least Valkyrie, they're going to can use that wild to maybe get an extra attack in. So that is what we'll do, folks. We'll do that. So we'll use that wild to move. He will then attack a thug. Doesn't matter. Just clears a bit of space, I guess. End of your turn may discard down. So I'm going to discard 2 of my cards in the hope that these next 2 cards are a bit more eventful. We have a single punch and we have another Mjolnir. Okay. So depending on what Black Dwarf now does, we may still yet defeat it. Thor is still teeing up with Mjolnir to swing it big at Black Dwarf. Will he get the chance? That is the question, folks. Let's find out. So, card is move 1. It's looking good. It's looking good. So, move 1. He will bam. There are no more chain hammers in place. So, from here, when he bams, he only does damage here. So, there's no impact to our heroes. And then he will put out he's going to put out thugs and just thugs. Okay, so we are at overflow here. So dealing extra damage to heroes there are none. And then we have capacity on either side for 1 extra thug. So that's absolutely fine. We will take those happily on the chin. So Valkyrie, whoa, where are you going, Thor? Got too excited, apologies. So Valkyrie will draw a card, and we have another war song. Beautiful. So with that wild in play, in fact, she gets to finish off Black Dwarf without the aid of Thor. So she will use war song to swoop in at the Black Dwarf, doing an attack with war song, an attack with that wild, and finish him off. There we go, folks. Excellent. So Valkyrie at the last moment stole that victorious final blow from Thor, but together they were conquerors and victors against Black Dwarf, who decided to try and take over Asgard on behalf of Thanos. No doubt obviously seeking to acquire that gauntlet. If you remember the end of one of those films with an extra shot, it's like, I'll do it myself. That was clearly what was happening here. As the Black Dwarf went to try and retrieve the Infinity Gauntlet from Asgard, failed miserably, ultimately resulting in Thanos having to go and do it himself. You know, why send a minion when you can just do it yourself? Excellent, fantastic fun, guys. I hope you've enjoyed that. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I always enjoy playing this game. It is just such tremendous fun. Again, very different in terms of how that's played out. Those threats really did come into their own in terms of dealing that extra damage on a wider scale. We dealt quick sharp with the possibility of reducing the damage against Black Dwarf. Maybe that was right, maybe that was wrong. I think we did the right thing. It enabled us to really stamp him out quick sharpish at the end of the game once we've made him vulnerable to take damage. So no, love it. We didn't uncover the healing of Odin's Vault, but we may have been able to mitigate a KO for our heroes, but it is what it is. Even with the knockout, we ultimately achieved victory, and we have won that additional position on our Ultimate campaign, working towards chasing down the Infinity Gauntlet and Thanos. So thank you very much as always for watching, guys. If you've enjoyed this, please stick a like in the box below. Hit subscribe if you haven't already done so. Leave a comment, let me know your thoughts. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I'm hoping you are too, and getting some kind of value. You see it a bit more around what comes in that Towers of Asgard box. I'll leave a link below as well for that. So if you haven't already got that in your collection, gives you a glimpse into what that may bring and make available to you. So that might be something of interest. Like I say again, thanks very much for watching, and yeah, we'll see you on the next battle of the campaign.